That was the sound of the System-1 from Roland, featuring a new plug out. For those of you who perhaps don't know what I'm talking about, the System-1 is the synthesizer aspect of the AIRA range. It's DSP based, and it allows you to run the internal synthesizer, the System-1, or the plug out. So we've got the System-1 and the plug out. These are two separate DSP models. Now these run sort of standalone inside the unit. If you've seen the other parts of the review of the System-1, I did one on the just sort of nuts and bolts, and I did another one on the SH-1 plug out that comes free with System-1 now, and it's a download. So what do you get now that there's an SH-2? Because the SH-2 is a kind of classic synthesizer from 1979. It's kind of black-faced, looks a bit like the Roland SH-09, and it's billed as a 2 oscillator bass synthesizer, but it's capable of much more besides. This is the plug-out version, or the plug-in version, should I say. You've got the plug-out button here, which allows you to send the code into the synthesizer, but it will run as a regular plug-in. Now, if you watch the other parts of the review, you'll know that it's only VST3 and audio units. So that means if your DAW, certainly on the Windows side, does not work with VST3, then you're kind of out of luck. That's one thing that I think Roland would be well advised to do if it's at all possible. But we've got two oscillators. If I come in a bit closer, VCO1 has, both VCOs actually have the range of 64 to 2 feet, so very wide range, pulse width modulation. The waveforms are different between the two. We've got sawtooth, square and sine on VCO1, and sawtooth, square and noise on VCO2. It is possible to tune VCO2 plus or minus 11 semitones and fine tune plus or minus, so it gives us quite a lot of range there, and it's the same old trick. To do that, you have to do it on the front panel. Press and hold the ring and sync buttons and hold a key. Turn the scatter wheel. Plus or minus 11 last semitone, plus or minus on the fine tuning button. As with the other plug out, the SH-101, the control of the front panels that are not used are not lit, basically. So we haven't got the pitch envelope. There is a pitch envelope amount, and we haven't got the amplitude envelope. This is rather different, actually. This isn't strictly true, because it is possible. If we look close up here, I might be able to get this a bit tighter, we can see that VCA mode allows us to use the filter envelope, the gate, or an amplitude envelope. Switching the amplitude envelope on enables it on the front panel here. The other modes are, we can have the filter envelope, hold mode, or gate mode. Next to that, the LFO key trig button allows us to switch the envelope trigger mode, so we can have LFO and gate, LFO, gate and trig, and LFO. So this allows us to actually use the LFO and the gate, effectively allows us to sync the LFO to create patches that are then driven by the rate of the LFO. I've got one here. Early Human League fans may recognise that, but I'm not going to tell you what it was. Right, time to listen to raw oscillators. We've got sawtooth, 64 foot up to 2 foot, so quite a wide range. Let's go right down. So you can hear it goes into sort of, LFO kind of rates. Right up to, just about start to hear it there. Sounds pretty good to me. I don't hear any aliasing, and remember, of course, we can always shape the thing more with the tone control. So if you remember, the tone control allows us to shape the overall sound of the synthesizer, sort of post everything, so we can make it more fizzy or darker. So take that down. It's almost like an extra filter, but it allows us to add a bit more extra stuff. Right. We'll put that back to the central position, and now listen to some of the square wave. Variable pulse width, that's the only thing that the colour button works for, colour knob works for. It doesn't do anything else on any other wave. We can modulate that with LFO or any of the two envelopes or the sub oscillators. Get that right up there. can just about hear that. We modulate it with the LFO. Almost goes into audio rates, but again, not all that high up the LFO there. Finally, we got the sine wave. Which sounds quite nice to me, sounds very analog in my ears. Goes down extremely low. We can enhance that again with the tone control by sort of bringing out the fundamental. Oscillator 2, same two waves, saw and square, and then just straight noise, which is useful to have on any synth. Right, so quick look at the envelopes, because it's not something I mentioned before. If we go to the front panel here, I've just got a flat envelope, full envelope filter, just this bit of white noise with a lot of resonance. So I'm just gonna, that's nothing, so I'm just gonna bring a little bit of attack in. Very snappy, so again here. I'd say eminently drummable. You can get some very nice percussion sweeps and blips and zaps and stuff on this. So yeah, pretty snappy envelopes. So if we come back and recall another patch here, I've got this kind of very bell-like arpeggiator, which is just using this single oscillator 2. And you can hear it goes really kind of tinkly, I can only describe it as. Not hearing any aliasing. And I'm finding that subtle changes in certainly the filter and the resonance and the mix really are very musical, and they're very discreet. And you know, you do find that what's happening is, you know, you're able to make these tiny changes, which creates it easy to perform with the SH-2 because it just sounds so musical, if you like. Let's try another patch, maybe the opening one, and I'll bring this in. So take the arpeggiator down. And again, just these tiny changes. Again, this is only a monophonic. I should probably mention, oops, I'll turn that down a bit. I should probably mention that the System-1 SH-2 plugin is monophonic. There's no paraphonic or multi-voice, so it's a pretty much faithful rendition of what the SH-2 is capable of. So I think actually the System-1 SH-2 plugin brings a different flavour to the whole system. I like the depth of it. It feels to me sort of slightly more organic and more musical. It has plenty of depth and weight and is great fun to play with. I think they've done a good job. I mean, I don't know the SH-2, but as an instrument and an entity, it really does make you feel like playing it as a synthesizer. You sort of forget about the DSP aspect of it, I must say. Having said that, you know, what's really impressive is that Roland have got this out so quickly. What is it, a couple of months maybe tops since we had the SH-101, and you can buy this as an addition. They did actually say that you wouldn't be able to use any of these plug-in versions unless you have the System-1. That's not true because the pricing reflects that. If you don't have a System-1 registered and you buy it, I think it's 110 euros, and that gives you access to the plug-in only. If you do have a System-1, it's 75 euros, and that gives you the plug out and the plug-in together. So what's that? That's about 50, 60 quid. That, to me, seems like a fair price for this. We only hope that there are more to come and they are as keenly priced. But on the whole, I can't really say I'm disappointed, and I think the price is right, and may there be many, many more.